Welcome to r/BestOf Redditor updates, where this man's wife's sister tries to kiss him. But quickly before we get into that, I owe you guys some shout-outs. If you didn't already know, I'm running the London Marathon in just 8 weeks now on behalf of Kids, an amazing charity that does amazing things for young disabled children and their families. And any donation that I get, if you want to donate, link down below, I'm going to give a shout out to, and I have been doing for the past few weeks. So without further ado, we are now at £2.6 thousand, which is unbelievable. I've set a new target now of 5,000, which is just a crazy one. So far, we've had 159 of you get involved. If you want to, the link is down below in the description, the pinned comment. It's everywhere, whatever platform you're on, and you'll get a shout out like this if you do donate. Jenny, you're wonderful for doing this fundraiser. You're a legend. Steve02, love the vids. Keep up the amazing job. Very kind of you, Jenny. Thank you for the 10. Jay stays classy. Between me and lots of other Reddit narrators, they see themselves listening to my podcast more while at work just to try and get through the day from Texas. Well, there you go. Very nice from Jay Stays Classy. Thank you very much. Laura became disabled at 29, lies down a lot. They doze listening to my videos and I keep them sane. Good luck. Thank you. That's very, very kind of you. I'm very sorry to hear that, but I'm glad that I could keep you sane. Thank you for the 5. Emma from Canada. Thanks for the awesome project and for the podcast. No worries. Tyrell, is that how you pronounce that name? I'm not entirely sure. Only got a little because I'm only 12, but here you go anyways. Have fun on the marathon. Dude, that is so elite from you. As I've said before, you're 12 years old and you're donating to charity. Legend. Jane, very proud. Thank you very much, Jane. That is a very kind donation. Much love. Trudy, I love your pod. It's great to listen to while I work out. I'm struggling with anorexia recovery. Wow, best of luck with that. I'm working to build strength, so it's nice to have background noise. Good luck with the marathon from Cork in Ireland. Very, very cool, of course. I forget that Euros are Irish as well. Lovely stuff. And Trudy, best of luck. Keep pushing. Sarah or Sarah. Gonna go with Sarah though. I'm following you since before the face reveal. That is a long time ago. If you know, you know. What a video that was. Thank you for all you do, be it regular content creation or dressing up as the Karenest Jack I've ever seen. You legend. Good luck with the marathon. Sarah, thank you very much. Ostasia, hi Jack, love the channel. Good luck, have fun, and also bring some mints to keep your mouth from drying out. Wow, it's their 25th birthday today on the 26th of February when the donation was made. Very cool. And the name is pronounced Ostaya. Thank you for doing that because I clearly got that wrong. Ostaya. Thank you very much. Rhiannon with the 50 Australian dollars. Huge. Okay, for 5,000, I think we're going to need Karen upgraded. Shave the beard, lose the glasses, get some false lashes and eyeshadow, and get some high heels. Maybe a nice dress, something in red. Wow. Comment down below, guys. What do you reckon about shaving the beard? It takes about 3 months, I would say, to grow back to full. A bit longer than that. What do you think? A lot of you were saying in the last one that you were very glad that I didn't shave my beard. So I think that is going to be a controversial shout from Rhiannon. But for £5,000, I've got to do something that's actually a forfeit. Dressing up and then taking it off, it wasn't that bad, let's be honest. But shaving the beard would genuinely affect my life. So what do you think? Sparky loves the content, admires the commitment to both the race and the charity, and the Karen dress up. Keep up the great content. Thank you, Sparky. Violet can't give much but wanted to help. Legend, as I said, any donation, no matter the size of it, will get a shout out. Thank you for the $3. Avery says good luck with the marathon. Thank you very much. Aiden loves the podcast and listens to them while ski racing from Canada. What a way to end today's donations. That is so sick. Aiden and everyone else that donated, much love. Again, the link to support is down below on any platform you're on. Let's get into today's episode. My 37-year-old man, wife's 34-year-old woman, sister, 29-year-old woman, tried to kiss me, and now my wife is spiraling. Help me. As the title says, my wife's sister made a pass at me at a recent family gathering, and I have no idea what to do. For context, I think my wife, Jenna, is absolutely gorgeous, but she has some really negative body image issues. This is in large part because of her younger sister, Mary, who is very conventionally attractive, as opposed to Jenna's more unconventional, but in my opinion, striking beauty. Mary was a successful model until a couple of years ago, and now works in the fashion industry. In our early days of dating, when I would tell Jenna she is beautiful, she'd always say, "Just wait until you see my sister." When I did finally meet her family, she would randomly press me for weeks to talk about her sister, whether I thought she was more attractive than her, etc. I always told her the truth, that I think Mary is attractive in a boring way, and that I think my wife is much more beautiful and interesting to look at. She wouldn't let it go until I confronted her about how uncomfortable it made me, and I asked her what was going on. This is when she told me that she's always had a chip on her shoulder about her looks because of being compared with her sister growing up. They fell into the classic smart one, pretty one dynamic their whole lives. She also said that Mary had a habit of being flirty with all of her exes and warned me that it would happen to me eventually. She then started sobbing and begging me to not cheat on her with her sister, to which I forcefully said that I would never cheat on her with anyone, let alone her sister. I've been crazy about my wife since day one, and there's literally no woman on earth who could come close to her. I honestly didn't believe her about the flirting at first. I assumed it was just an extension of her insecurity. But I was wrong. Whenever we get together with my wife's family, Mary always finds ways to touch me and make little innuendos and comments about me or my body. It's super uncomfortable for everyone, especially my wife, and I've called Mary out on it before. She'll cool it for a while, but eventually started doing it again. It's been 6 years of this, and every time it happens, my wife is upset for days, and I have to do a lot of reassuring. So on to the current problem. A few days ago, we were at my mother-in-law's birthday party, and Mary asked me to help her grab some things from the garage. As soon as we walked in, she turned and pressed me up against the door with her whole body and started trying to kiss me. I immediately pushed her off and asked her what the frick she was doing. She started giggling and saying she was just doing what we've both been thinking, and kept insisting, "You know you want to." I told her she was out of her mind and ran out of there. I went straight to my wife and told her we were leaving. The whole ride home she was asking me what was wrong. I wasn't sure whether to tell her because I knew how much it was going to hurt, but I also thought that Mary would probably try to spin it as me making a move on her, so I knew I had to just say it. I told her everything, and she cried the whole way home. For the last several days, Mary has been calling and texting my wife, doing exactly what I thought she would do, even telling my wife that I said that she, Mary, was the hottest girl I've ever seen, which I had to assure my wife a million times that I did not and would never say, even though she believes my account of the situation. She's been a complete wreck the last several days. She's hardly eating, she pulls away from my touch when I try to hug her or just hold her hand. She says she feels hideous and disgusting, and I don't know what to do. This is the lowest I've ever seen her, and it hurts to see how much she's hurting. I have no idea what to do to help her heal from this. Reddit, what should I do? Honestly, guys, I kind of have no idea what to even suggest here. You've been doing the right thing, in my opinion, for such a long period of time now. This is obviously such a deeply ingrained issue that your wife's had to deal with for pretty much her entire life, right? I mean, it happened when she was a child. It's happened with all her exes. She's always had this comparison with her sister. And the fact of the matter is, she's right about her flirting with her exes, which is absolutely crazy. So it's not as if her worries and her fears are not without actual evidence. As we saw, you know, she actually does do this sort of stuff. She tries to kiss her sister's partners. Unbelievable. So because of all of that, it's going to be an extremely, extremely challenging thing to try and get her to not think these sort of thoughts and to reassure her that, no, I really do love you and I don't care about your sister at all, when she knows for a fact that her sister is making passes at you. It's just an incredibly difficult one, and I really don't even know what to do. What can you do other than just keep doing what you've already been doing, which kind of hasn't really been working? Anyway, good news is this is Best of Redditor updates, and there are a couple more updates to come. The first one that I'm about to get into was posted just a couple of days later. Here we go. I got a few requests for updates, so here it is. I first want to thank everyone so much for your advice. It was extremely helpful and gave me a lot to think about. I'm especially thankful for the folks that asked me how I was doing. I realized that I've literally never had a chance to check in with myself after these things happen, and I've actually been holding a lot of frustration and resentment about it all. I've been harassed for years, and it's either been brushed off or it's been eclipsed by the impact it has on my wife. I don't blame her for it, but this has been a good lesson in me not burying my feelings for the sake of others, even for her. I also want to clarify a couple of things that came up. Several people asked about how my wife's family feels about all of this, and I explained in a comment that her parents are toxic and treat Mary as the golden child. Even though my wife is a freaking neuroscientist, amazingly talented musician, speaks 3 languages fluently and another 2 conversationally. My wife and her family are seriously the only people who don't seem to understand how exceptional she is. I remember meeting one of my wife's family friends and talking to them about her research, and they said, "Oh wow, her parents just told us she works at a university." Whereas my parents literally introduce her as the family genius to everyone. It makes me so freaking angry to think about how her jerk family has stolen her shine her whole life. She's literally a Renaissance woman, but all they care about is looks and money. Some folks ask me why I would ever put myself in a situation alone with Mary, given everything she's done. I have no good answers for that, other than I never thought she would actually try to do anything. That possibility just didn't exist in my head. I realize now that I should have seen this would happen eventually, and that I should have been less concerned with keeping the peace, and more concerned with shutting Mary's trash down before it escalated to this point. Hindsight is 2020. Alright, I gotta jump in here quickly. I completely disagree with that. It's ridiculous to think that you're never gonna be in a one-on-one situation with your wife's sister ever, like what, in the next forever of your life. It's gonna happen eventually. You shouldn't blame yourself for doing that. And also, you were just being kind and helping out. That's not your fault at all. The situation was an inevitability, it's just a sad one. Anyway, on to the updates. The night I posted, I told my wife that if she wanted to try to repair her relationship with her sister, I would respect that, but that I don't feel comfortable being around her for the foreseeable future. I said, Mary has obviously been deeply jealous of my wife her whole life because she is a hollow, ugly person whose entire value has an expiration date, while my wife actually has substance. I said that I think her whole family is toxic and has done nothing but put her down her whole life, but that only she can decide whether she still wants them in her life. Wow, and that answers my question as to what you should have done. That is the perfect thing to say. Brilliant. I also told my wife that while I don't blame her for her emotional reaction, her insecurity is something that she needs to work on for our relationship to be healthy. What Mary did was sexual assault, and she's been sexually harassing me for years, but I've consistently put aside my own feelings about this problem because of how it affects her, and that has prevented me from getting the support that I need too. I told her that her reaction only serves to punish herself and me for her sister's behavior, and there's no reason to give her that kind of power. I also told her something that a commenter said that really resonated with me. The only people who have ever considered her second best are her and her family. Everyone else sees her for who she really is. I've got to say, OP, you are saying angelic words here. Every single letter is perfect. She was crying the whole time and agreed that she needed to go to therapy to work on her insecurity. We were able to find a therapist who specializes in body image and self-esteem issues to work with her individually, and we're looking for a couples therapist too. My wife sent a message to her parents and sister that explained exactly what happened and told them she would reach out to them if she ever feels ready to repair their relationship. We blocked all of them everywhere, but Mary has of course been spamming my family and our friends with nonsense, claiming I attacked her, that I'm a drug addict, I abused my wife, all kinds of BS that thankfully nobody believes. My wife is still down in the dumps, but I can see that things are getting a little better. She's eating and sleeping more, and she's cuddling with me in the mornings again, which is nice. Now I'm planning a surprise getaway for us this weekend. We're going to one of our favorite places, and I'm going to wine and dine her and try to make her feel like the goddamn queen that she is. I want to thank you all again for your help. You really helped me understand the severity of the problem. And again, thanks for helping me connect with my own feelings about all of this. You guys are the best. But guys, fear not, because there is actually one more update that was posted on the 1st of February. So let's get into that. Hopefully, OP says it's the final update, but let's see. First, I want to say that I've gotten so many questions about who Mary is, and I'm just not gonna say. Suffice to say that she's never been household name famous, but she made a living solely on modeling for about a decade from what I understand. So she must have been popular enough that fashion people might know her. I really don't know how that world works, but in my opinion, it doesn't matter how many names you drop, you're not famous if you don't have a Wikipedia page. That is fair enough. Also got lots of comments that mostly jokingly called me a simp, and I can't argue with that. I totally am a simp for my wife. She's the coolest. I hope you all find a love that makes you feel this way. I completely agree. If you're gonna simp for anyone in this life, it better be your wife. That is fair enough. Okay, I think that's it. So here is the actual updates. My wife loved the getaway weekend. We had a blast, and by the end of it, she said she felt like herself again. For a few days after we got back, things were really quiet, so we were hopeful that Mary had finally given up, but I felt uneasy about it all. Many of you warned me that Mary would try to interfere with my work, and while I initially dismissed it, I figured I would reach out to my boss just in case. I've been working at the same company for almost 10 years, and she's heard me vent about Mary before, so I didn't have to explain too much. My boss just reassured me that she knows my real character and would let me know if Mary tried anything. As predicted, Mary did try to contact my boss a couple of days later, and the following is a recounting of what my boss told me. Apparently, Mary said that I needed to be fired because I was a predator, and she claimed to have proof that I assaulted her. My boss said that that was a very serious accusation to make and asked Mary to explain what proof she had. Mary claimed there was a camera that caught the whole incident, so my boss asked her to send the video. Then Mary got flustered and said the police had it, so my boss asked her to send over a copy of the police reports. Then Mary said that it had a lot of private information in it, so my boss asked her to redact the private information and send it over. Then Mary said that she didn't feel comfortable with that, and my boss told her that she could not take action against an employee based on word of mouth from a stranger. Then Mary shouted at her for victim blaming and hung up. But unfortunately, that was not the end of it. Last Wednesday, Mary somehow sent an email from my personal email account with a D pic, not mine obviously, to the entire office. Oh my. My best guess is that I must have left my email logged in on one of my in-laws' devices. She's definitely not smart enough to actually hack me. And I know this is completely besides the point, but of course, she chose the weirdest looking D I've ever seen. I played team sports all my life. I've seen a lot of Ds, and this was something else. It's honestly kind of funny to think about Mary Googling gross D or something and sifting through hundreds of images to find just the right one. I had to apologize to everyone on staff, and thankfully folks were surprisingly understanding. It's actually been kind of a nice bonding experience with my co-workers. I honestly didn't consider myself to be super well liked in the office, but it feels like everyone has been going out of their way to be kind to me, and it means a lot. Anyway, at this point it was clear we had to escalate things legally. I really wanted to avoid it, but she forced my hand. My wife and I have a lawyer friend who helped us draft a cease and desist letter outlining her continued harassment and the material and emotional damage this is causing us. My wife then sent a message to Mary and my in-laws with a copy of the letter and made it very clear that we would pursue criminal and/or civil proceedings if her harassment continued. My wife's mum then called her crying and begged her to just let it go and leave Mary alone. My wife calmly explained that Mary is the only person responsible for this whole situation and that their parents have always enabled her awful behavior. She also says something that she later regretted, but I think it was pretty badass. Mary is going to stick you two in a nursing home and steal your money the minute she has the chance. And you deserve it. After the way her mum reacted, my wife is firmly settled on cutting off her family completely. This happened on Friday, and on Sunday, Mary's best frenemy, Anne, sent my brother a message on Facebook to say Mary is going to leave us alone and to please not sue her. I told my brother not to respond, then just sat and enjoyed the idea that Mary was out there somewhere, freaking out about the potential of having to actually face the consequences of her actions. It must be such a strange feeling for her. Since then, we haven't heard a peep from the grapevine. It feels like things are finally starting to go back to normal. My wife is starting therapy next week and will be starting couples therapy in a month or two. She wants to do some work on herself first. She's also taking a short leave from work to rest and recharge. I'm so proud of her for standing up for herself with her family and finally putting her mental health and well-being first. Thanks again for everyone who offered advice. This was a messy situation, but it definitely would have been messier without your help. And there we go, a great story with a pretty good ending, I will say. However, my immediate reaction to what I've just read there at the end is I kind of can't help but think that there's more to come here. Mary is the sort of person that hasn't really not got her way, it seems, throughout her entire life. This might be the first time in her life that she hasn't got the desired outcome that she wants. Therefore, I can't help but predict that she's going to come back into your guys' life in one way or another. It doesn't even matter if she's going to get sued or if the law's going to get involved or whatever. I just don't think she's going to give up that easy. I really fear for what she might do next. Get in the comments, guys. Do you reckon this story is done, or do you think it's just the beginning? I don't really know. One way or another, I really do feel like this is not going to be the last we hear of Mary, and that she may well end up in custody pretty soon. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this one. Really hope you enjoyed it. Best of Redditor updates right now, I think, is my favorite subreddit. Like, it's just great. You don't get stories like that on any other subreddit. It's just a fact. And if you want more stories like that right away, then I've narrated quite a few on my YouTube channel. In fact, check this episode out on screen and linked down below for 3 hours of the very best of stories that I've read over the past year.